Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got a very interesting combination of shell and choke to try out, and it's a new choke at that too. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this combination can give us, because it should be a very interesting looking result. But as for those shells I've got here today, big thank you to Keith from Salt Creek for sending some of these over, but I'm not paid to tell you guys anything from them or anything like that, but they do make good shells. But for the shell we've got today, I brought out some more of these, the Salt Creek Cold Turkey Blend shells. These are a new loading here recently that they did just put up on their website, but these are a 12 gauge 3-inch 1 5/8 ounce payload of TSS 9s mixed with lead 5s, moving about 1200 feet per second. So these pretty much split the difference between a lead and a TSS shell, and they've shown us some pretty nice performances so far. A week or two ago we tried them through a pattern master and they looked really nice. I think they're right at about $27 a box, so it seems like they're pretty good middle of the road performer between lead and TSS. So we know we got a pretty good and pretty interesting loading, but what about today's setup? And as for today's setup, I brought out my Remington 1187. It has a 28-inch barrel on it, and for the choke, I picked up something a little bit new, which is one of these, a Rectifier choke. Now, I'm not paid by Rectifier or anything like that. I paid for this choke on my own, but Rectifier is having a sale right now on a lot of their Cyclone series chokes for like 25 bucks a piece or something, so I picked up several of them to try. This one is a Rectifier Cyclone 655 constriction, so we are tightening down the constriction a little bit for these cold turkey blend shells. It might work out great. They might prefer a little more open constriction. I don't know, but we'll see what this combo can give us and if this is too tight for them or not. But as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. The turkey target's at 40 yards, and I've got the chronograph so we can get our velocity from the shell. So let's get you guys a view of that target and see what the Salt Creek cold turkey blend shells can give us through that Rectifier Cyclone 655. In theory, this combination should work out pretty well, but let's try it and see what we get. Alright, so that shell gave us 1103 through the chrono. The box claim is 1200, but this is very typical for what we have been seeing from these shells, is low 1100s. I think every one we've tested so far has been between 1100 and 1130, and for a blend shell with lead 5s and TSS 9s, that's still perfectly fine for a velocity. So nothing unusual up here, but what kind of a pattern did they give us down at 40 through that 655 rectifier? Let's go check it out and see what we got. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. And I think it's pretty clear that our question mark coming into it has pretty much been answered here. Is that 655 a little on the tight side for these? And I think the answer is yes. We definitely started to open the pattern up again without a doubt. Now, I think our core might be just a touch off to the left over here, but we do still have a dead bird. He is pretty decently covered there, so it does give you leeway, but we definitely don't have the tightest or the hottest core we've seen from these shells either. Now, if we center that up just a little bit, sure, yeah, he's still a dead bird, but overall it's just a little more broad than what we had been seeing from these. Around the edges we have a mix of both TSS and lead pellets that are definitely flyers and stuff around the edges. Now, it is a pretty even mixture throughout the pattern of both the TSS and lead, so that's a good thing. And for the most part, through the middle area, it's pretty even. It's not blown all over the place, but outside of that, I definitely think it's too much constriction for these. That Pattern Master 665 seemed to really be the ticket so far in our testing for these. And who knows, they might really do well with just 665. They might like something like a 660 as well. I don't know yet, but 655 definitely seems to be a little too tight for these. But that's why you test things and see what the combos actually give you, because you never know what would happen until you try it. And with these being a blend shell, blend and stack loadings can be a little tricky sometimes. And once you find that right combination, then bingo, you found it. But this combo, not impressive, although would still be a turkey killing pattern at 40 yards. I mean, I'll zoom in again here and give you guys a closer look. The middle core area of the pattern, although not tight, is pretty even. We do have one void over here a little farther to the left, but it's just not nearly as good as what we had seen from these shells through that Pattern Master. So at least now we know. We'll open it up a little, and now we got to try them through something like a 660 and see what happens as well, and we can go from there. So we'll see what happens as we continue to test them and that Rectifier 655. Either way, I'm not saying this is anything super impressive today. It's just not the right combination for them. So we'll continue to try them through a couple other constrictions and see if that 665 holds true or not with these. So technically, yeah, plenty good enough for a 40-yard turkey pattern, but far from our best combination with them as well. And here's the wad from that shell. Very standard stuff for Salt Creek. We know these are some pretty solid performing wads, and this one looks very much normal. Nothing stuck down in there, no snags, rips, tears, anything like that. And really, the wad doesn't even really look like it was over constricted, but the pattern definitely showed that it most likely was. So the wad, I think, did about as good as what it could have done for today. It's just not the right choke combination for them, it wouldn't seem. So we'll try them through some other constrictions and see what they can do, but the wad doesn't really look like a big concern for this test. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance right there? That is definitely a sign that we don't quite have the right combination out here today. It's not a terrible pattern, but it's definitely nothing to write home about either. We know we've seen way better from these shells, again, through that Pattern Master 665. So they might just prefer the little bit more open constriction, but I wanted to see what they would do if we choked them down a little bit. And I think we got our answer. Now I think we need to try them through like a 660, and maybe we go a little more open as well, 670, 675, something like that. See what happens, because we know we've got a good shell here. It's just not the perfect constriction for them. That's why you test things, to see what happens, because you never know what's going to be a fantastic performer until you try it. So a little disappointing for a result today, but at least now we know, and we can work from there in our testing and see what else we can get out of these shells. But leave all your thoughts down in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these new Salt Creek cold turkey blend shells, and if so, what kind of results have you seen? Or have you run one of those Rectifier Cyclone chokes, and what kind of shells have performed well through them if you have? Let me know all that down below, as well as what other choke combos do you want to see us try with these blend shells. I've got a couple in mind that I think will definitely give us a little better performance than this, but let me know what you guys want to see. At the end of the day, that's still a usable 40-yard turkey pattern. It would absolutely get the job done for you, but it's not anything impressive either. We know Salt Creek makes some great shells, and we know these can do a whole lot better. We've seen it in our testing. So did we get lucky and find the perfect choke for them already? I don't know, but for today's test, just not the perfect combination at the end of the day. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description down below if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it. So I'll see y'all in the next one.